So, to keep up the facade that I am still in fact a gaming channel and not just a partisan political propaganda outlet, I should probably review a game every now and then. So let's do, Aliens, Colonial Isolation. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll admit right off the bat, this game is way better than I thought it was going to be. So the concept of Fireteam Elite is Left 4 Dead with 3 players in third person in the Aliens universe, where the zombies climb up the ceilings and the walls, which is actually pretty cool. You know, adds this nice 3-dimensional layer to it, and somebody's yelling in your ear exactly where the aliens are coming from every single time. It's like, ladies, shut up. Why did they feel compelled to do this? The alien sounds are actually really, really good. And from what I can tell, they're distinct for the different types of alien bosses, which I all really like, by the way, despite the fact that their pounces are unavoidable, even if you roll away right when they start to jump. But they could have had this really immersive survival game where you're constantly trying to pay attention to your surroundings and make sure you're not, you know, snuck up on. And the third-person choice itself, I understand because it allows you to roll without, you know, this weird visual motion blur. And rolling is actually quite essential to, you know, avoid the acid blood and to buy yourself some distance. But if this game was in first person and you had like an alien mask or a space helmet on or something, you know, you could get blood on it and you'd be like, oh shit, I gotta clean it off with some basic solution. Basic, like, you know, pH basic, not like Starbucks white girl bitch latte basic. Or maybe just obscuring your vision so you're like, shit, now I can't see. And that could have been really cool, but as the game stands, it's a fairly casual arcade shooter, which is not horrible, and I would recommend you play with the brightness on really, really low, so that the circle of light is really all you can see. I think that adds a really neat horror effect that they should have had mandatory. And of course, it suffers from a lot of the same issues most third-person shooters do. You have these really obvious tracer-round bullet trails that look really, really bad. The third-person shoulder swap is nice and snappy, but it resets to default every time you reload or every time you drop out of aim down sights. And the user interface is horrible. There's an extremely obtrusive HUD. There's so much information here that I don't need, and you can't turn it off. There's a damn cursor in a console game menu. The text boxes for the statistics of the weapons are blocking the pictures of the guns, and they follow your cursor around the screen. This is awful. Now, I saw a lot of people complaining in like the trailer and the IGN first, where it's like, you know, the xenomorphs have these white outlines around them, and don't worry, that's just journalism mode. You can turn that off. I can't take credit for that joke, I saw that in a comment. And the game has a class system, so you start with 4 classes, and then when you finish the kind of main campaign, if you will, you unlock the 5th class, which is garbage, it's useless, it's horrible. It's like Lion's ability in Rainbow Six Siege Outbreak, where it's like, oh, you push the button to show where all the enemies are. Okay, spoiler alert, they're fucking everywhere. Okay, thanks, very helpful. The best objective class by far is the Demolisher, because the heavy weapons are amazing. He's the only one who has access to the smart gun, the flamethrower, the grenade launcher, and the rocket launcher, and his ability, kind of like a ground pound shockwave to kind of stun aliens around you, and his other ability is a rocket launcher that just decimates everybody. Like, this guy is so much better than everybody else. The gunner at least gets the assault rifles and the shotguns, and he has an overclock and a grenade, so those aren't totally useless. And the abilities of the doc and the technician themselves are fine, but they don't get a second primary weapon. You have to use a handgun, which is to say, you get one weapon. And in a game that depends on you having enough ammo for both of your weapons to make it to the next ammo stock, these people are useless. The submachine gun, the magnum, the pocket shotgun are garbage. You will get maybe 2, maximum 3 xenomorph kills in one magazine, whereas the assault rifle will give you 5 or 6. The shotgun will give you 9 or 10. It is so imbalanced, and their abilities are not nearly good enough to make up for the fact that they have a weapon deficiency. So you have your 2 classes of weapons, you have your abilities, there's a little skill chart that you can kind of map and make small buffs to your skills, and then you have your consumables. These are super, super lame. You have mines, you have sentry guns, and you have ammo buffs. That's it. And you don't even have as many variants of these as it seems. There is literally no difference between the electric mine and the cryo mine. They do the exact same thing, except one is a teeny bit better. You go from point A to point B and stops you 2 or 3 times along the way for like a wave defense, and it'll put you in a position and it'll say, get ready to fight the swarm, the bugs, the xenomorphs. So they'll all rush at you, and you have to lay down, you know, your mines and your sentry guns and your turrets. You have to set up a perimeter. And on the higher difficulties, these are super, super fun. I played the majority of the game on standard. I did a few of them on intense. I could not find any matches for insane or extreme. Speaking of not finding matches, good luck finding a match. So I tried to play this game with my two good friends. Unfortunately, they weren't very good, so I had to use the public matchmaking. And the public matchmaking is the biggest problem with this game. Aliens Fireteam Elite does not have a quick match feature, which means you have to manually select a difficulty, and you have to manually select a mission, and then look for people for 60 seconds in that mission. And if it doesn't find people, it just gives you the bots. On any difficulty higher than casual, the bots are useless. They are buggy, their AI is terrible, and they don't even get special abilities. 2 AI bots are not even equal to half of 1 regular player. The game has 4 different campaign areas, if you will, and they're each broken up into 3 missions. So you have, like your classic aliens, like ship in space, then you have like the cement underground concrete structures of Prometheus, and then you have the actual like green technology of the inside of the ship of Prometheus, and then you have like the alien ship that's all covered with like goo and hive, and it's like all infested. So you have 4 pretty distinct areas. I think the game badly needs like a jungly outdoors area, but looking for matches. There are 4 different areas. There are 3 missions per area. There are 5 possible difficulties. What's 4 times 3 times 5? This game divides its player base by 60. And if you are fortunate enough to get in, find a match, play it, and finish it, the game makes you wait 90 seconds in the lobby to just leave. Like, there's return to base or continue campaign, and sometimes you just have to return to base because it doesn't let you carry over to the next mission with the same team. So you can go back and, buy attachments and inventory upgrades and skills and stuff. But the game forces you to hit return to base and then wait for everybody else to do it too, even though you're just going back to base. And of course it's bugged, so it freezes all the time. Oh, speaking of bugs, this game was not ready. There's a game-breaking regroup your fire team before progressing bug, which you have all 3 members of your fire team right by the door, and the door will not open, and you literally cannot progress through the mission. So you have to close out the whole mission. There's a sound bug. I've played this mission 3 different times now, and every single time, the moment the helicopter air strikes the bridge, I lose all sound. And then there's this one, but at least it was kind of cool. Space. I'm in space. And don't get me wrong, when you're playing on Intense and you got 2 capable people standing next to you and you're being charged from 3 directions by a horde of aliens and 2 bosses, and you're just all firing simultaneously, just to hear that bolt fly back and forth and watch the muzzle flash light up your face, and just to see the gore splatter out of the aliens as they get pushed back, despite the game's best efforts, it's unable to ruin how fun that is. And there's a few different enemy types. You have the xenomorphs, you have these little mini ones that like jump at you and explode. Face huggers are super, super rare. You only see them at like the end. Now, Prometheus zombies are probably my favorite because they run at you and they're actually kind of spooky. And then the worst ones are the synths. In the second area, you fight robots that shoot back. And then the game turns into a shitty version of Gears of War. Super, super lame. You gotta stick to that asymmetrical gun versus alien play. Once they start shooting back, you completely lose me. But in its current state, with all the bugs, with all the matchmaking issues, with the lack of overall content, and with the lack of good immersion, they honestly expect me to spend $70 for this? Oh. Huh. Well, I'm not gonna lie, that could have been a lot worse.